Thanks for having me, Maria. Great to be on the show.
Thank you. Thank you so much for your service to our great country. What do you think about this deal?
I think it's awesome. It's huge, historic. Lots of adjectives come to mind, but I'm proud of the president and the leaders of these two countries getting together to make this happen. The promises that Israel made, of course, the promises that the leadership of the UAE made. It's really fantastic. I think it'll ripple throughout the Middle East. There'll be a few people that turn their nose up to it at first. That happened when Jordan and Israel signed their peace agreement. But overall, this is going to be huge for the entire region.
Well, it certainly feels like getting Israel to stop the annexing and the West Bank activity is a really big deal. What are you getting on the side of the United Arab Emirates that you think is as significant?
One, just the recognition of Israel is a huge step in the diplomatic relations, the sharing of intelligence information that can happen. It's a huge deal in terms of leveraging against Iran. I mean, when you think of what's happened in the Middle East, it's been this alignment, sort of two axes, the Iranian axis and then the Saudi Arabian axis. And unfortunately, Shia versus Sunni. And it's exciting to see the UAE cooperate with Israel in order to sort of counterbalance and push back against Iran.
I think it's such an important point that you make. And right now we're seeing Iran reach out to China and various partnerships happening there. They were talking about a $400 billion deal just 2 weeks ago. What are your thoughts on the threat from China and now China trying to align further and closer with Iran?
Absolutely. That alignment has been going on for years. And it is, you have to kind of think of what Iran is trying to do. I mean, they're doing everything they can to advance. I mean, even in their constitution, they are to take the Islamic Revolution to the entire world. And so they're going to seek every partner that they can. I mean, now they're even partnering with Venezuela, Russia. It's an unholy alliance, and it's a danger to the world.
Yeah, and of course, in fact, we got this news this morning as well that the U.S. has seized the Iranian fuel cargo. This move cuts off a supply chain both countries have basically taunted the U.S. with by defying U.S. sanctions. The vessels are being redirected to Houston. Are you expecting any kind of retaliation here? What kind of pressure does this put on Tehran?
Well, it's a huge pressure on both countries. And you think of where Venezuela is right now, with a socialist economy that is crashing. The loss of the fuel is terrific or terrible for them. And then Iran loses a source of income. Right. I mean, in the sanctions, right now they are being crushed by these sanctions, doing everything they can to go around them. They're working. That's essentially what it means.
I see.
They're working. And we have to keep the pressure up.
Before you go, let me ask you about the stimulus stalled, Congressman. How worried are you? I mean, Majority Leader Mitch McConnell adjourned the Senate for August recess now. Everybody's going home after Democratic lawmakers and White House officials could not reach an agreement on coronavirus aid. What are your thoughts here? Yesterday, the president told us it's partly because of mail-in voting. Nancy Pelosi wants $25 billion for the U.S. Post Office and another $3.5 billion for mail-in voting. And the president's not going to do it. He thinks there's fraud around mail-in voting.
Yeah, there is no doubt that mail-in voting is going to be horrific for the country. I mean, it'll be terrible. It'll be bad. All the stuff that just happened in the primary, the Democrat primary in New York, excellent example of it. But, this is more than just that. I mean, they are doing everything they can to bail out blue states that have failed. I think of Illinois' pension plan, which has an unfunded liability of tens of billions of dollars. There's no reason why Tennessee taxpayers should have to bail out, the folks who've made bad decisions in other states. So I think the president's standing up for all of the rest of us out here who've managed our states well.
I see. All right. Well, we'll keep watching that. Congressman, it's great to see you this morning. Thank you, sir.
Thanks, Maria.